What's up, you guys? Matt Jablonski here with the Point of Change. Happy Monday. I hope everybody had a good weekend and you're ready to get the week going. As you guys come in here, make sure you like and love the video and share it out for me into any addiction groups you may be a part of or onto your own page if you wish. Today's topic is stress. This topic was chosen by the supporters over on patreon.com/thepointofchange. If anybody's interested in becoming a supporter of The Point of Change, there is a link in the description of this video. Go over to patreon.com/thepointofchange and get signed up at the membership level that works for you. If you sign up at the platinum tier level, you get your name and your recovery date added to my banner. If you sign up at any other level, you get your name written on my board. So thank you to Marsha Morrison. I'll bring you over. You can't really see it. There, Marsha Morrison. Thank you so much for becoming a supporter of The Point of Change. It is awesome to have you on board. Speaking of which, tomorrow evening is our weekly supporter live, so make sure you're there. Get yourself, once you sign up as a supporter of the Point of Change on Patreon, you can then request to join the Point of Change Patreon support group here on Facebook, and you'll get approved to join that group. I have had a lot of people requesting to join lately that aren't supporters of the Point of Change on Patreon, and I just want to let you guys know that I'm really sorry that I have to decline you. I'm not trying to snub you, but that is a closed group that's meant for the Patreon supporters. It's mainly for me to do my extra lives in there and post exclusive content for the Patreon supporters. That's another bonus you get for becoming a supporter. You get an extra weekly live and you get some additional content that you won't see here on Facebook. And we do all of that in that closed group. So I'm really sorry to anybody that, requested to join and I got to decline you. I'm sorry, guys, but that's what that group is for. I want to send a special thank you out to Lonnie Lucero Lopez for coming by last night and sharing with us. If you guys missed that video, make sure you go back and catch the hashtag replay. Lonnie, that was awesome. Thank you for joining me. Next weekend, we have Stephanie Wagner is going to be here to share her story. Stephanie is the mother of an addict who died from an overdose. Her story, she wants to share the story of her daughter. It's going to be a tough one for everybody involved, for me, for all of you watching, and for her. So make sure if you guys show up to that, make sure we give her a lot of extra encouragement. And also on that note, I want to send some prayers out to a follower and supporter of mine, Patrice Wasp. She lost a friend of hers, Victoria. So if we see Patrice, she was going to try to push. Oops, sorry, guys. She was going to try to push through and come here and hang out with us. So if we see Patrice down in the comments, please make sure we show her a little extra love today. Marsha Morrison, I thought I paid for the big black sign in back. Oh, no, so, if you go back, dear, you'll have to sign up at the platinum tier level to get your name on the big thing. But I wondered if I should message you and ask you about that. But yeah, you have to sign up at the platinum tier. You can go back and up your membership level, and then we'll figure that out, dear. Just get a hold of me, and we'll get through that. Morning, Dresden. How you doing? Janet McClanahan. Good morning. Michael McNeil. Good to see you guys. Give me some likes. Give me some loves. Give me some shares out. Build up a little bit of a priority here on Facebook. Susan McIntosh. Good morning. Deborah Ramirez. Good to see you here. Lynn Latour. Thank you for joining me. Pam. Good to see you. Amber Doobie's here. Hi, Amber. Good morning. Josh and Lori Mutimer. Sorry for your loss, Patrice. Definitely send some love up for Patrice. Thank you, Maddie. That means a lot. Oh, good. Patrice is here. We're so glad to have you here, Patrice. Stay strong, dear. I know this world is pretty troublesome, and a lot of us are going through death and loss, myself included. My aunt recently committed suicide. So this weekend, they're actually having a get-together for her, and I'm going to do my damnedest to be there. So, in fact, I shouldn't even say I'm going to do my damnedest. I'm going to be there to see my family and, have that gathering. I need that. So this weekend I'll be doing that. Also tonight, another thing, I'm doing everything I can lately to keep myself in check and to keep myself pushing. I've had a lot of depression going on lately, got a lot going on in this old head of mine. So one of those things is my dad's birthday is coming up. And my dad was a huge influence to me starting the Point of Change here. So one of the positives that I'm putting on that is the 23rd is my dad's birthday. So on the 23rd to the 26th, I'll be offering 10% off all my merchandise. I know that's nothing huge, but my dad was a big reason why I started the Point of Change was because my dad passed away. So it's just one small way of me offering a positive to that negative is 10% off my merchandise to celebrate my dad's birthday for 3 days. So if you guys are waiting to get a sweatshirt or a t-shirt or a hat or a coffee mug, just wait until between the 23rd and the 26th. Go and get it then, and you'll get 10% off on it, guys. Another thing that tonight, I'm going back to the Gong Fest, you guys. And I will be asking tonight if it would be okay for me to bring a tripod and set up and do a live stream of the Gong Fest so you guys can come and hang out with me and actually hear the different sounds that a gong makes, because it's pretty crazy. It really is. Let's see, Tina, keep fighting. Definitely. All of us got to keep fighting, man. All of us. Push through this stuff, guys. Push through it. Let's see. Thank you guys for all the love for Patrice. I love seeing that. I love the community that we have here. Caitlin even mentioned that last night during Lonnie's testimony last night. Somebody commented that they were struggling or something like that, and Caitlin kind of caught it out of the corner of her eye, and she said before she could even catch it and go to reply to it, somebody else had already replied to her and let her know that she wasn't alone and they were there talking to her already. And she thought that was really cool that we have so many people in the comments that really just, if you're struggling and you make a comment, somebody's guaranteed to reach out to you here from the Point of Change. And I love that. So thank you guys all for supporting each other, you know, not just supporting me and everything you guys do for me, but for being there for each other. I love seeing that kind of stuff. B. Clark's is shaking my head. Another hippie gong festival. It's the same one, brother. And I'm going, me and Caitlin are going every Monday night through October 26th, I believe, is when it's over. So that's one more thing I'm adding to my defenses against this depression that I'm fighting right now. And it's just one more thing that I'm adding that me and Caitlin can do together because I love her so much. Okay, guys, you know what? I love my little intro video, so why not play my little intro video and then we'll get on topic, right? I love you guys. Thanks for hanging out with me. I'll see you in a second. Welcome back from the break from me to see more of me. Thank you guys for joining me this morning. Today's topic was chosen by the Patreon supporters over on patreon.com. If anybody wants to become a supporter, of course, go to patreon.com/thepointerchange and get signed up at the membership level that works for you. Tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Central is our supporter meeting in the supporter group. So make sure if you get signed up for that, that you are there tomorrow night. Today's topic is stress. We are going to talk about what is stress. We are going to talk about what is stress and how does it relate to addiction? And then not only that, but we're going to talk about some ways to help you manage your stress if you feel that you are stressed. So let's start off this with the basic stuff. Here, let me get that off of there. We'll start off with the dictionary definition of stress. If you look this up, there's a whole bunch of them, but a lot of them are just because, you know, there's so many different word forms that we use stress. You know, we use it for pressing on something causes stress. We use it to stress a word. When you're speaking in a sentence, you can put emphasis on a word, and that means stressing on that word. There's all kinds of different definitions, but the one that we're worried about, this is from Merriam-Webster.com. Stress, a physical, chemical, or emotional factor that causes bodily or mental tension and may be a factor in disease causation. That last part, boy, that last part when you're talking about a chronic relapsing brain disease characterized by obsessive or compulsive engagement in a substance or activity despite negative consequences, which is the definition of addiction, it is a disease. So talking about stress and seeing that it may be a factor in disease causation. Now that right there should stick out in your mind. It really should. Stress, a lot of times we think of the leading cause of addiction to be trauma, because people that came from a traumatic childhood, people that went through a traumatic event, they often lean towards drugs and alcohol to help them cope with that past trauma. But now the research is starting to lean towards that the leading cause of addiction and relapse is actually stress. Now, when you go through a traumatic event, you become stressed when you go through those traumatic events. But, you know, that's trauma isn't the only way that we have addiction. Addiction comes in many different forms, and it starts in many different ways. And when you think about it in that sense, that when you go through a traumatic event, it causes stress. And then we think about all the people that didn't have a traumatic childhood. We think about the people that had a pretty friggin' awesome life and then threw it all away for drugs and alcohol. What led them to get to that drugs and alcohol? If they didn't have a traumatic past, they didn't have the abusive childhood that some of us did, or grew up in a rough neighborhood, grew up in a really good home and went through really awesome things and had an awesome life, but then they end up finding themselves in addiction too. Now, often that's because of prescription, and then that leads to physical dependency, which leads to addiction. But in other cases, we have people who simply start using drugs and alcohol as a way to cut the edge, to take the edge off, to relax. And then slowly it becomes a coping mechanism. Slowly it becomes something that we don't just do on the weekends to have fun and release and celebrate. Slowly it becomes something that we lean on when we have different emotions and things that are coming up. And one of those big emotions that leads to addiction is stress, one of those huge factors. The stress in your job, the stress in your relationship, the stress at home, the stress of life, especially in 2020, life is pretty dang stressful. Some of the symptoms of stress, when I looked this up, I want you guys to pay attention to some of these too, because a lot of these symptoms of stress look awful reminiscent of the symptoms of addiction. So we have dizziness, being out of it, general aches and pains, grinding teeth, clenched jaw, headaches, indigestion or acid reflux symptoms, increase in or loss of appetite, muscle tension, and we're not done there, problems sleeping, racing heart, cold and sweaty palms, tiredness, exhaustion, trembling and shaking, weight gain or loss, upset stomach, diarrhea, and sexual difficulties. These are signs and symptoms that someone is facing an abnormal amount of stress. Now, those, not all of them, but some of these are awfully reminiscent and maybe ring a lot of bells for those of you too, in either going through your addiction or going through your detox. Maybe you remember feeling some of these emotions in general. This really brought to mind my thinking because, as being stress is the leading cause of relapse, that was the one that really rang with me, being the leading cause of relapse. Because how many times have we seen somebody coming up on a milestone in their recovery, or coming up on the family visitation day at rehab, or coming up on some big life event that is a positive, but they relapse the night before? They go out and they use. Now, a huge factor in that one is the stress level that is caused in those big moments, in those moments of family gatherings, those moments when your friends and family are coming to see you at rehab. You're doing good, everybody's looking at you, all eyes are on you, and that stress level can send a lot of us back out. Now, that's an extremely important thing to remember, and also an extremely dangerous aspect of stress, and why it's so important for us in recovery to have as many tools in the toolbox as we can to help us get through depression, anxiety, stress, all of this stuff. We need as many things that can help us get through this as possible, because I would hate to see any of us slip back up because of a stressful situation, and there are a few different kinds of stress, but one is just general stress that you feel, which is generally pretty fleeting. Your general stress is not very long lasting. And then you have stress disorders, where people are under a lot of stress over sometimes things that shouldn't be causing stress. Sometimes it's just because each person goes through something differently. Two people may go through the same situation. One of them just walks through it like it's nothing. The other one feels extreme stress. A great example of that in my own life is filling out online forms. For this guy right here, like for most people, I would say most people, going to fill out an online form is simply click first name, click last name, click address, click. See me, I'm saying this, and as I'm saying this, I'm already feeling the tightness in my throat just talking about filling one out. And then, username and password, and just fill it out and click the next button. For me, that takes me possibly 5 to 10 minutes just to do that much, because through it, I have to stop, I have to breathe, I have to think, I have to calm myself down, because going through a frickin' online form, filling out forms, for me, for some reason, is a crazy stressor, and I absolutely hate it. It drives me insane, and my everything, all of those symptoms that you see right there hit me all at once. Like my heart starts racing, I get the cold, sweaty palms. I just instantly just hate it, and I cannot stand it. For most people, probably not that way, but that's just a great example of you for a situation that most people probably wouldn't think is stressful, but for one person it just might be, and stress affects each of us differently. I have a really awesome quote here from Psychology Today from their article on how addiction and stress are related. Moderate and challenging stressors with limited duration are perceived as pleasant. Now, what that means is like going through challenges, having a challenging job, or having a tough situation that you handle. In those tiny moments of stress, stress is viewed as pleasant. When you have a like if you work in the service industry and you have a rush at work, how afterwards you're kind of like, hell yeah, dude, you got that little charge, you got that pump up, like your blood flow is going good, like, and you conquered that thing. And those short bursts of stress are actually pleasant for most people. Let's see. In fact, some individuals chase stressful situations that promote the release of stress hormones. I think all of us can relate to that right there. How many times did you think you weren't just addicted to the drugs, you were addicted to the game? And how many of us found that out when you come into recovery and all of a sudden you don't have as much to do? We're not out running and getting dope. We're not out doing all that crazy stuff. And it can be kind of weird for us to go from a chaotic life that we lived for so long to the relatively peaceful, serene life that we have in recovery of not doing all of that nonsense. It can be really hard for people. And a lot of that is due to this right here. You get addicted to those stressful situations. You get addicted to the release of that increased heart rate and those things that we feel through a stressful situation. You become addicted to those things. Emotional addiction is a real thing. Now, this quote goes on here. However, intense, unpredictable, prolonged stressors such as conflict, loss of loved ones, and employment can produce learned helplessness and depressive-like symptoms. That's from psychologytoday.com. Now, that learned helplessness, has anyone ever felt that, especially after losing a loved one or going through a situation such as a breakup or something like that, and you feel just completely helpless when really you're not? You've been through so much more in your life, but in those moments of stressful situations, what happens in the body is your body literally starts sending more blood to your muscles when you're stressed out. Your brain, your body what would I say? What's the word I'm looking for? Reconfigures? Not really. Redistributes the use of blood flow from the brain to the muscles to make you more ready to go. The problem that happens when you have that happen, when you start, reducing the blood flow to your brain, well, then that frontal lobe that we talk about so often, the higher learning, that really slows down, and you really start to kick more into the midbrain, like we've talked about so often, that when you use drugs, it kicks off the frontal lobe and you start running on that midbrain. Your midbrain is really driven by things that are going to continue the human species, your survival. It's really like, it's your lower brain. A lot of people call it your lizard brain. It's just worried about fight or flight. It's worried about eat and have sex with everything it could possibly see and kill that thing so that we don't die. That's what your midbrain is driven on. So when you start facing a lot of stress, just a stressful situation, your body totally changes the way it's reacting to the situation and totally adapts to help you through it on a survival level, but it really takes away from your thought and your judgment in those stressful situations. And that can be really dangerous, especially for those of us in recovery, because when you lose that frontal lobe that thinks through a decision, boy, those quick knee-jerk reactions start coming out real quick when we start running on our midbrain again, guys. So make sure you're staying proactive about the stress in your life. A lot of times stressors, we can't avoid them. We just have to know how to deal with them and get through them. But if you can avoid them and steer clear of those stressful situations, even better. Awesome. Stay away from stressful situations. Ways that we can manage our stress. A big one, the biggest one. I put this first and foremost because it's definitely the biggest one, is self-care. Take at least 1 hour a day for yourself, guys. I don't care if it's when you first wake up, having a workout routine and going for a walk down by the lake, if that's your first hour of wake up, or, you know, after an hour of wake up, whatever, whenever you want to squeeze it in, or maybe it's before you go to bed, maybe it's mid-afternoon, whatever your schedule is, cut out an hour a day, just 1 hour a day for you, where you do something that serves you instead of serving other people. Put the phone down, step away from your work, whatever it is, step away from it and do something for yourself to remind yourself why you do all that other stuff, why you go through it. That self-care is really gonna help center you. It's really you're gonna come out of there feeling recharged. I don't care if it's working out. I don't care if it's, watching a movie, if that's what serves you, or if it's going for a walk in nature, if it's meditation and praying, if it's reading a book, whatever it is that brings you back and centers you, find an hour a day for that. That's for sure. Another huge one, breathing techniques. Breathing techniques are so important, guys, not only for stress, but for anxiety, for depression, for everything. One of the biggest X factors that you have control of in any situation is your breathing. Take a moment when you're going through that stressful situation and just notice your breath. Just take a moment and look inside yourself and say, how am I breathing right now? What's going on? And notice it. And you'll notice the increased breathing. You'll notice the hyperventilation in some cases. You'll notice that your breath is completely out of whack. And if you can just take a moment and you can just start breathing normally again. In fact, if you can, breathe in for a 4 count, or no, breathe in for a 3 count, breathe out for a 4 count. Breathe in for a 3 count, breathe out for a 4 count. This will bring you back. This is going to center you a lot. This is a lot like one of those grounding techniques that I'm always talking about, guys. This will bring you back to the here and now, and your entire aura changes depending on how you're breathing in the moment. And you'll notice this when you're having a moment where you're breathing real heavy and everything's out of control. If you could just stop and just take your breaths and bring yourself back to center, you'll notice a huge change in not only in your body function, but in your brain waves as well. Like everything changes just depending on the way that you're breathing. So that is a huge X factor and an awesome thing to make sure you're in control of. The next one I put is family and friends, making sure we're staying in contact with our family and friends. This is a huge contributor to our depression as well, as staying isolated and staying away from our family and friends. Make sure you're spending time around positive family and positive friends. Now, of course, if we have toxic family and toxic friends, of course, that's not a good idea to be around them. I just got booted out of my own video. Facebook? What the hell? Anyways, your family and friends, when you are around other humans, you will put out a different aura. When you're around people that you love and people that you genuinely care about, it releases different chemicals in your brain. So being around positive family and positive friends is more of an asset than you can ever imagine in your life. Having those people around you that support you, just being around people in general is good for you. It's actually that's one of the things that the midbrain looks for, is human interaction. Because as I said, your midbrain is only worried about your survival and the continuation of the human species. That's all he worries about. But one of the things that guarantees your survival and the continuation of the human species is your family and your friends. That's pretty cool to me, honestly, that on a survival level, you are geared to spend time with your family and friends. It's something you need for your survival. I think that's beautiful. Animals. That's my next one. How many of us have a dog? Drop it in the comments if you have a dog. I want to hear your dog's name, because dogs, or a cat, if you have a cat, if you have a fish, if you have an iguana, if you have a spider, whatever it is, animals are so good for releasing stress and for reducing stress in your life. Now, and this also plays really well into the whole, one situation is stressful for one person and not for another. Some people are freaked out by dogs or by cats, or especially, like when we start talking about arachnids and stuff, like one person can pet a tarantula and have an amazing release of endorphins and serotonin. Another people scares, like leaves the house and shits their pants when they see the tarantula. So that's a great example of different situations that affect different people differently, But animals are a wonderful way to feel connected, to have that companionship, to just bring your stress levels down. After a hard day at work, having that dog or that cat to sit down by you and pet is just a huge, awesome thing to have in your life. Deborah has a Chihuahua named Lucy. Oh, that's so cute. I have a Chihuahua Yorkie named Tay-Tay, and I love her so much. Carrie says dog. Saber. Right on. Cat. Koba. Oh, Koba. Is that a Planet of the Apes drop? Is that what that is? And a rabbit named Chance. Oh, I feel like that's a name he got because of something he did. Marsha says, I got 3 animals for support. Awesome, Marsha. That is awesome. Michael McNeil, I love my shepherd service dog, Rocky. Right on. That's awesome. I love shepherds, man. Lindy, I got a pit bull puppy named Duke, a fish, and a guinea pig. Right on. I love guinea pigs. I think they're adorable, but I don't like having a hamster or guinea pig cage in my house. It makes, for me, I don't like the smell of it. It drives me nuts. But guinea pigs are super adorable. Pam Schwerman, 2 dogs. I just got booted out of my own video again. I'm coming back in, guys. Oh, could not play video. Facebook, listen here. I know for a fact you can play this video, okay? Joy Nagel, Cat Yoshi, Tum Tum and Harold, dog Bella, ferret Ducky. You got a ferret? That's awesome. Ferrets are funny. Susan McIntosh, I have 2 dogs, 6 rabbits, free roam, 1 hamster, and 1 lizard. Right on, Susan. Marsha, 3 chihuahuas, 3 of them. Wow, nice, nice. I bet that's fun when people knock on the door. Let's see. Josh and Lori, English Bulldog mixed with a Pit Bull. Right on. Janet McClanahan has 4 fur babies. Beautiful, guys. I'm so glad you guys have an animal to share your life with. It really is a wonderful thing. It really is. Animals are beautiful. My last tip for you guys to manage your stress is to stay organized. It's last, but it's also another big one. It was huge for me in early recovery, especially to get a calendar and to get a daily planner and to have myself organized and my things right and in their place. It really will help you manage your stress if you can manage your house organization. That's just a tip for you guys. If you feel stressed a lot, try, one thing about having a clean body, clean mind, clean spirit is keeping a clean house as well. I know that some people, it's cluttered and lived. I'm not trying to shame you. But if you are the person that could do better at housekeeping, then maybe I am trying to make you feel a little convicted. I'm not trying to make you feel shame, but maybe trying to give you something you can work on in your life that'll help you with your stress is to get it organized, and to get yourself a daily planner, get yourself a calendar, and just clean up a little in general. Add an hour of housekeeping to your daily routine. A clean house will really, not only is your world that you live in is usually an outward projection of your inward self. If you are having a lot of clutter and a lot of chaos in your house, good chance you got a lot of clutter and a lot of chaos in your life, and you can help combat that by keeping a clean house. You can help combat that chaos in your life by keeping a clean house and keeping your house. It's just another X factor that we have control over, So that's what I have for you guys today on stress. I really hope this helps somebody. I really hope that maybe it gave you a different way to look at stress and a different way to manage your stress. I hope it gives you guys another tool in your toolbox. That's the biggest thing. If you know anybody out there that you think could benefit from this video, make sure you drop their names in the comments, tag them up, share this video out for your friends and family to see. If you enjoy watching my videos, it's a big chance that your friends and family will enjoy watching my videos too. Thank you guys so much. This was a great video this morning. I'm going to let you guys go. I have to work at the campground today, or I shouldn't say I have to. I get to work at the campground today, and then I get to go to a gong fest with my girlfriend tonight, and I will make sure to ask, because you guys were interested in this whole gong fest. I keep calling it a gong fest. It's not a festival. It's a gong in the grass, okay? But you guys had asked about it, so I'm going to ask her tonight if it would be okay for me to bring a tripod and a microphone and my camera out there and make a live video while she does her gong. So, and we'll check for signal and stuff like that while I'm there tonight too. So thank you guys for joining me this morning. I love you all so much, and I will see you guys tomorrow morning for Toothless Tuesday right here on the Point Exchange. Until then, stay happy, stay healthy, and stay clean.